Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here. Hopefully, you had yourselves a very good weekend. Mine was nice and quiet, although I did take a run up to the city on the Saturday. But I was pretty quiet, just sitting here, doing my thing, preparing the work stuff that I do. But I've been playing ESO a lot. What video game are you playing right now, Grimlock?
Um, I'm bouncing between a couple. Because on Game Pass, Monster Hunter Rise is on Game Pass now,
All
so
right, right.
I started it just seeing how different it is from Monster Hunter World because I wouldn't call myself a long time Monster Hunter player. I only got into it with World because it was just so different from anything I was playing at the time. So
Mhm.
seeing Rise and how different it is from that, and
Well, how different is it?
because it's vastly different. The set, well, because it was made on for the Switch, so graphically it is not. It would say superior to World if people was thinking it would be.
Hmm.
It's a different art style, but I like it. It also shows how good the RE engine is from Capcom.
All right, right, right. Well, I
Um,
remember my son playing it, not the online, this just the game itself, and he was really into it. He actually bought the little statuettes and things like that. But he's always liked those kind of things. But yeah, it looked interesting. Kind of. It's not my shtick, but one thing I will take from that is that Xbox Plus is what you're talking about, right? Um,
the Game Pass, yeah,
yeah, Game Pass. That is a great deal, dude.
it is, and um, for the older fans, they talked about doing it for a decade, and they finally did it. But they brought Age of Empires 2 the definitive edition to the Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I was
I know
taking a
they're
look at that over the weekend.
well, I know they're also in the vein of the things you're talking about. They're also talking about a brand new Dragon Dogma from Japan,
Mm,
which is, interesting because Japan doesn't put out a lot of MMO stuff. They just don't, right?
yeah,
Yeah, the Korea just floods the market. China has some. They don't share though. But the what are the Chinese? What are the Japanese got? They got Final Fantasy 15. Is it 15 or 16? Well, it's the king
14.
of MMO. So, good
now
enough, I guess.
14, I believe.
14, yeah. They got Genshin Impact, which is quite popular, and they have upcoming Blue Protocol. That's pretty much it. You can go play
Yeah,
a lot of little gotcha games, and they're very Japanese. They're even Japanese voiced, but they're not made by Japanese. They're Korean made, right? But Japan doesn't put out a lot, but the stuff they put out dominates the market. So, you know, less is more, I guess.
yeah, uh,
But I mean, the
very much.
amount of stuff coming out this year from Korea is ridiculous. Would you like to guess how many MMO RPGs are coming out from Korea this year? Would you like to guess? Now, keep in mind, most of them are going to be little gotcha crap, but still,
Okay,
31,
okay. I
31,
was gonna say 20. I was gonna say 20, but so I would have still been off by a good bit. So
31 MMORPGs coming out of
right,
Korea this year. Jesus, dude, and some of them
and how
look
many of those are gonna be?
spectacular.
Now here's the question: how many of those are gonna survive more than 2 years?
Well, they won't. We know that. They won't even survive that long. But
Because a
there's a
lot
lot.
of
Yeah.
a lot of free to play games got the axe over the last week and a half.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's it's
Quietly
it's the
as it's been
formula.
kept.
That's why everyone's so excited about Pantheon and Ashes of Creation. Although Pantheon have dropped the ball quite a bit, but Ashes of Creation still has a lot of buzz around it because they're kind of going back to the old model, right?
Yeah,
And get rid of this loot crate, shop crap. But to be fair though, with ESO, I love the dialogue. It's a great if you're interested in narrative play, go play as ESO. Uh, and I do pay the monthly subscription, so I do get free crowns for the shop, but I've never bought anything out of it.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't buy things out of those shops, so I guess they're making so much money it doesn't matter. But for people like me, it would be better just to either put a set price or a monthly subscription. Because I'll pay that. I'll pay $10 a month, $15 a month, something like that. Hello, Thundero.
I think they really, I think they really need to move away from that model.
Yeah, no, I think we'll see some shifts here soon. They'll come up with something new. I could barely hear you,
I think
Thundero.
Hang on.
Okay, he's working on it. Continue, Grimlock.
I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that thinks this way, but I really do think that the going all in on the subscription services, battle passes, whatever is right now the single biggest killer in the gaming industry
Yeah, those
because
battle passes. Yeah, yeah.
it's like, all right, so you're gonna want me to pay $60 for the base game, which, as I learned with Overwatch, even a physical copy doesn't matter anymore. Um, so in addition to the 60, God forbid it has any kind of in-game currency that you have to use real money to buy.
Hmm.
Then you want me to pay for this service, and most services, at the very least, will cost you $10. So that's an additional $120 on top of the 60 I just gave you,
Right.
and that's not even counting having to buy premium currency. So
Well, they think
year
they're being cute,
one,
right? Instead of just upping their
yeah,
prices to 80, 90, $100, and with inflation, they
yeah,
think they're being cute, right?
yeah. So year one, I'm spending $180 for a game that, and most of the time, isn't even ready day one.
No, that's a big problem with Triple A's.
It's,
But I mean,
that's
I think
that's brutal.
it is brutal, and I think the Game Pass from Xbox is the smart way to go because
Oh, yeah.
what do gamers do? I mean, I've heard a bunch of YouTubers going on about lifestyle games. I mean, it's the only game they play, and I call bullshit. Right? I call bullshit because as a gamer, what a cringy word anyway. But as a gamer, we play all kinds of games all the time. We're always trying out new stuff. Now, there might be stuff that we stick with for a long time, but we're doing
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff. We're not playing that one game, and it would be ridiculous. The industry would be dead if we did. So
yeah.
Xbox
We
throwing out this thing where hey, come play all these interesting indie games, basically. I mean, that's
or
the
different
formula.
genres.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest, Game Pass is one of the reasons I still haven't bought a PlayStation recently. Because now that MLB The Show is multi-plat, I'm like, that was one of the reasons to buy a PlayStation because it was easily one of the best sports sims. I would say one of the best sports sim franchises out there. Possibly, I would, if ever done, because they're that good. And now I can just wait till April and it'll be on Game Pass. What wins there?
Well, where's my post-apocalyptic truck soccer game? That's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I need. I need Mad Max Soccer. It should exist, Thundero. It should.
Some, I'm sure there's an indie company who's coming up with that concept for right now.
I'm sure.
You know how the old saying goes, Chester, be careful what you wish for.
No, I want Twisted
And
Metal in a soccer arena.
there already kinda is that. Um,
I saw it. Yeah,
what's
that's
the
why I
name of
made the
that
joke.
game?
Yeah,
What's the name of that game? Rocket League. It's
yeah, yeah.
similar.
That's what I
Yeah,
was joking off of. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, we got Gregory in here, and he's like, "Ha!" I did much longer than that, though.
yeah. Okay.
Amazing the legs that Rocket League got, because
It's stupid fun,
it,
dude. It's great. Yeah,
it
yeah,
really is.
yeah.
It's really fun.
It is fun.
But
Oh, it's fun, but it's one of those games, man, that it pisses me off to no end. I get the full on gamer rage, and
Smashing
I can
that
only
keyboard.
play it. I can only play it for a little while, and I'm just like, nah, okay, all right, I'm gonna actually hurt somebody if I don't calm down.
Yeah, yeah. But it was fun though. But you know, the funny thing, the game I find myself playing the most, which is odd because I got this banging computer sitting here in front of me, right? But the game I play the most is Exos Heroes. Exius Heroes, whatever, however you pronounce it, is some Korean a little mobile game, right? I don't know why, because I've never been into mobile games so much, but I check them out here and there, and I try it and then delete it, you know, because it's just simply a money sink, right?
Right.
But I don't know what it is about that one. It's got so much story. It's all animated. It's like a little video game. Every cutscene is like not a video game, like an anime. And it does have the gotcha element where you're collecting, you know, characters and stuff. But it does something different that the other ones don't. One, it's got all different kind of characters, not just sexy girls, you know, which
Mhm.
I don't mind the sexy girls, but you know, I want
Yeah,
something a little bit more realistic, and it's got all kinds. But it also makes you use everything you collect. Where in a lot of those collector games, you end up using just the bangers that work well together, and the rest of them are just sitting somewhere in the account, right? They don't do
that's
anything.
true.
In this game, you're
Mhm.
using them for all kind of stuff, all of them. So you have to level everything up, and there's like three,
Oh, that's
four
interesting.
hundred characters in the game. You have to use them, right? And I love that, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's got a great story in it too. But I'd suggest that if any of you guys looking for an interesting mobile, it's got a really low rating. I don't know why, because it's an excellent game. The cash shop is great too because there's nothing worth buying.
I would
Yeah,
guess
and that's
some of
great.
those
So
games
you don't
get
spend
low
your money.
ratings because they're not buying ratings.
Yeah, because there's nothing. Their cash shop is dumb. I mean, it's just I threw $10 at them just because I do. You know, if I like a game, I'll
Yeah,
throw some money at them. But there's
yeah,
that cash shop is there's nothing in there. The only you have to spend a couple hundred, $300 to actually get anything of value out of them. Who's going to do that? Well, I guess some people do, but I mean that's good for me because
real.
there's nothing tempting. The games that say, hey, you can pick this up for $1 or $2 or $3, those are the ones that are dangerous for me,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
anyway.
Yep.
Exios Heroes. The current
Mhm.
storyline they have is Alpha and Omega, but I didn't play it from the beginning. I came in somewhat like I don't know 6 months ago. But it's a really good game because it is a gotcha game, but it forces you to use everything, and you have to level everything up. And of course, you're collecting equipment for the characters, trying to level up the equipment, and it's really challenging because there are a lot of people playing it. Obviously, they're probably all Koreans, but you know, so it's not easy to place in tournaments and stuff like that. It's quite challenging, and like I said, the entire they got 30 chapters or something like that, and each segment of every chapter, and it's like 30 episodes of chapter, so if you know do the math, um is a full animated cutscenes between in each chapter. It's ridiculous, dude, and it's good animation too. I mean, we're talking straight up solid, you know, Japanese animation, well, Korean animation, but it's really good, and it's got flying zeppelins in it. I like zeppelins.
Big fan of the Zeppelin, are you?
Mm. Steampunk.
Interesting.
It's a steampunk thing. So it's not
A
your
lot of fun.
standard fantasy. It's more of a steampunk. I don't know. I like it. Well, what are you playing right now, Thundera?
Well, I'm trying not to play too much, but mostly just RimWorld at the moment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, what a smasher hit that was, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you just get lost in for hours if you let yourself. Like there's just always something more to do. And I appreciate that, but it's also very addicting.
Yeah, no, it seems to be. I'm very prejudiced against. I come from the generation of Pong, literally. Right? I
Mhm.
had a a Radio Shack Pong when I was a kid. I went through Atari, into the Segas and Nintendos, etc., etc. I don't want to go back to pixel art. Fuck that noise. I want it to
But
evolve, dude. I don't want
you
to go
can do
backwards.
so much more with it now than you
Yeah, I
could then.
know. I know, but still, no. I said I was prejudiced. And Gregory says it sounds like a pay to win game. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, it could be, but I haven't. I threw $10 at him simply because I appreciate the game, and I always do that. But I haven't spent any of the money, and I'm not gonna. And I'm
Is
having
it
great fun playing it.
an East Asian game?
Yeah, I think it's Korean.
Yeah, then it's pay to win.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But you don't have to win. That's one of the problems people run into. I mean, like I'll play MMOs and they're all pay to win now. They're all that with cash shop stuff. But I don't throw. I'll throw initial money at them if I like it, just simply because why not support them, right? But I don't need to win. I don't have to be the best. I don't have to have the best gear. It's not necessary. I want to enjoy the journey. And the games that put great narrative stories and fun play in there, those are the ones I play. And it's funny all the noise I hear out of the Elder Scrolls game because what they're complaining about that kind of shit, top end stuff, rating and things like that. But it's like, dude, you have 37 zones. There were soon to be 38 zones in that world, right? I think it's that many. They're all of them are completely run with all main quests, side quests, all tons of stuff. It's all voice acted. The storytelling is really solid to actually excellent, depending, right? And what are you complaining about? Jesus Christ, dude. That's freaking phenomenal. I can't imagine that back in the old days of playing Myth and Magic or Might and Magic or some of those earlier Commodore 64 stuff. I mean, God, we would have killed for something like that, dude. I don't
Yeah,
understand it. Spoiled
yeah,
brats.
it is nuts.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, Gregory says he's been playing Crossout for several years and it's pay to win. But if you're good at
Yeah.
building your vehicle and you know how to play, you can beat the. Yeah, no, you can exactly, exactly. It's just about
Yep.
patience, really. Yeah. But
People don't like that word much anymore.
well, the thing is, in the league play in that game I'm talking about, the Exios Heroes, I've never won any of those leagues ever. Maybe one day I'll place in the top three. Who knows? But they pay out all the way down to like the top 50 or something, or even top 100, I think. So, just participating, you're getting stuff, and you're slowly building. You know, and like I said, the actual gameplay as far as just running the chapters, I'm kind of stalled on the 20. What am I on the 23rd or 22nd chapter? Because I'm just not strong enough to move forward. But it's just amazing storytelling, and that's where I guess that I'm a narrative based guy. I suppose that's the issue. Yeah, no, I've only gave him $10, dude. Yeah,
Yeah,
he put $300 into it. Yeah, I don't. Now I've spent I spent the full kit for ESO. It's not $300, but I have spent the full kit for that. But I don't know. Anyway, we should move on with today because I'm a little short on time today. I can't go as long as I normally do, but that's okay. I have to go into the city early. Oh, it is what it
aw,
is. Work and all, responsibility and that shit.
How dare you?
Yeah,
who
I know.
asked you?
How
Nobody
how
asked you this.
how very white of you to be responsible.
I know. Can you believe they're throwing racism at being punctual and hardworking? I'm like, are you serious, dude?
I mean, at this
They
point, they're just making all the arguments for the white supremacists. So hey,
well, yeah, well,
all
that
right.
it's amazing how
Do you
racist
like
they are
do you
toward
like
themselves.
breathing clean, non-polluted air? You might be a white
You
supremacist.
might
Yeah,
be an
yeah.
evil racist bigot. Well, then yeah, okay. If that's
Well,
the criteria, then okay, I am.
well, it's
Thank
like
He
you.
wants to wash with clean water? That sounds like white supremacy to me.
it
Yep,
does. Well, it's like
yep.
the poor little black kids who are smart in a black
Yeah.
community. They get beaten
Right.
because they're smart. Are you trying to be like the white man? It's like you're literally being racist toward yourselves.
The
You
answer he
understand?
should say is yes, because they
Yes.
have everything, and
This
I want it
yes.
too.
Yes. I mean, but it sucks to be a smart kid in the black community, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
In a white community, it can suck a little bit, but in
Depends on
general,
the income level of your community. If you're in a poor white community, it's pretty similar in a lot of places, especially like rural areas.
mhm.
They don't like smart people because they intimidate them.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so what
I
you
know.
learn and I'm speaking from experience, what you learn as a highly intelligent kid who lives in those areas or goes to those communities is you hide it. You do
Yep,
everything you can to make
yep,
it so that way when you do show it, people are shocked. They're like, whoa, whoa, wow, he's smart. Yeah. Now shut up and leave me alone. That's
yeah.
pretty much what you got to do.
Well,
Because
yeah.
otherwise, people either get intimidated and then they treat you lesser, or they treat you with such crazy expectations that it's silliness. So you're better off just keep your head down,
Yep,
do what you got to
yep.
do to where you can get around other smart people where you don't have to worry about hiding your power level, like if you want to call it that.
Well, yeah, and one of the difference is too, it's so back assward because, as a white kid, especially a white boy, you have to do that when you're young, and then when you become an adult, you have to turn it on, right? Because there's no one there to help you. There's no special interest groups. There's nothing. You are on your own out the gate, and you got to make it work. Whereas a smart kid in the black community has to hide it too. I mean, literally, they beat him, right?
Right.
But when at least when he gets older, there's so many opportunities he can take advantage of to get that leg up, So, in the end, what's worse, I mean, I guess being a white kid because
Well, not,
there's
no, because
nothing to
now they
help
give it to
you.
black. Because now they give it to black girls. Because black hashtag Black Girl Magic. So, and there was that article that black men are the white men of black people. I don't know how the fuck that equation works, but
I don't
Explain
either.
that.
um, they
Since
got
half
that
of
shit
them are
over.
men.
Okay.
So in that
Yeah,
equation, that
yeah,
means
yeah.
the only black people are black women. That's apparently that's the only ones who are
Oh,
actually
that's
black.
what that means. Oh, that makes
from
Yeah.
sense then.
from Japan, I heard Chester's brain cells weep
Yeah.
upon hearing that nonsense.
There's so many dumb shit, dude. There's so much dumb stuff. But personally, take advantage of the system, I guess, because a lot of those black kids, there, and other minorities, there's a lot of chances for you, man. You should eat them up. You should eat them up.
Yeah.
And it seems
Yeah,
like so many are not taking advantage of it. It's like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Yeah,
Anyway,
it sucked being having actual Cherokee blood in you, 100%, and but having just not enough. I'm just under the threshold to where I can get in on all the benefits of it.
oh sure.
And it's like,
mm,
that's some BS because I
Well,
am. My great grandfather was 100% Cherokee, but I'm too many generations removed. I don't get it. I don't get the benefits.
yeah, yeah. I don't even know what that word means. Anyway, let's continue.
My Hero Academia manga goes on 2 week hiatus due to poor health of mangaka Kohei Horikoshi.
Uh, Hor-
good.
Horikoshi. They didn't spell that right. But
I didn't think that was spelled
no,
right.
they
I was
didn't
like,
spell
wait,
that
that's
right.
not his name.
Yeah. But let me go check. It's either Horu or Horo. It's probably Horu. But let me check right here. I see there was a little thing coming out here. It's not coming out on the February 6th, issue number 10 of Shonen Jump, I guess. But he will, due to health issues, they don't really specify, it will return in issue 12 of Shonen Jump on February 20th. Oh, they have here. Okay. So you can see the English here. Uh,
Yep.
but um, uh, but the reason I put this up here was, and it is Horu. It is Horu. So Horu Koshi is his name. Kohei.
Yeah.
But
Oh, hey.
Kohei, yeah. But he's hit a banger here, and there's they happen from time to time. This one's really popular. But here's the thing. The reason I put this up here is these people work themselves to death, dude. It's insane.
Literally.
Now,
Yeah.
you could tell by the headline, but I'll be more specific with it. They put out a weekly manga. He puts out a weekly manga in Shonen Jump, right? And it's How many pages you think he's putting out a week? Would you like to guess?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know him specifically. I know a lot of them. Some of them do quite a few,
Well,
way more than you
they
would
have
think.
a requirement, so they all put out the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like it's in. Is it like 20 or so? I can't
Yep.
remember, but it's a
20.
lot.
20
Yeah.
pages. And if you're one of the creators that is on the monthly cycle, right?
Yep.
You're putting out like 60 pages, right?
Right.
So that is a little bit easier. But here's the thing. They're putting out 20 pages a week.
Yeah.
And we have our artists complain about doing 25 pages a month,
Right.
right? And marveling at people like Kirby who could do 8 pages a day, 6 to 8
Yeah.
pages a day, which is impressive. But for these guys, that's normal, right? And
Yeah.
before you start saying, "Oh well, their art is simpler and easier," yeah, yeah, yes. Oh, okay, yeah, uh-huh, yeah,
Well, I mean, the
yeah,
perfect example of their
yeah,
art being obscene is the
yeah,
gentleman who does the One Punch Man manga. Now he doesn't do it every week. It comes out usually like every month or every 2 weeks or whatever, right? They have a less rigid schedule, but his art is ridiculous.
yeah.
It's better than anything Marvel or DC's ever done, ever
They put out some pretty
in the
impressive stuff.
serialized stuff.
Well, if you go back to the old days, I mean, well, I guess that would have been before Marvel. They were putting out similar quality, and the
Yeah.
Europeans still do. But I'm just saying, look at that. Look at these pages, right? Look at these pages you're seeing here, and
Well,
he's
you're
doing
also
20 of
underselling it.
these a week.
Not only is he doing that, he's writing the scripts for them.
Yep.
He does it, they do the whole shebang usually. I mean,
Yeah, one
they might
man
have some helpers, but they're
or
pretty
lady.
much all on them. And they have to lay out these insane, sometimes like this one's been going for what, a decade or so now, or almost. So they have these insanely long form stories that they're telling, and they have to build these worlds and do all this lore and draw it at the same time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that is
it
crazy.
is
The
crazy.
workload is crazy. So a lot of times, like the guy who did Bleach, Tite Kubo, uh, his he had a lot of health problems for years, and his health problems were just exhaustion. He was just exhausted, physically had actual chronic fatigue, and because they didn't care really, Shonen didn't give a shit if he was tired.
No,
He just kept having to push through it, and it literally nearly killed him.
yeah.
Literally, actually, nearly killed him.
Yeah, it's insane
So
the workload they put on these people,
yeah,
and the craft that they put out. It is it's just impressive, and it's just interesting to me when I listen because we talk to quite a bit of comic book artists. I'm not
yeah,
knocking them; they're inside their culture, and I get it. But this is what you can produce and kill yourself at the same time.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but they need to find some way because the interesting thing is here in the manga, because it is a one person creating, it tends to be men creating manga in general.
Yes,
I mean, vastly so. But when you go to the animation side, because if this becomes popular, what they'll do is they'll peel it out of the telephone book they come out with every week from Shonen Jump or one of the other ones. I mean, it's gigantic. It's like 500 pages, right, full of stuff every week, right? It's literally a telephone book. And I know many of you don't know what a telephone book is. I know, I know. But anyway, it's thick is the meaning. But then if it's something real popular, they'll pull it out, they'll colorize it, and you can buy it as a little teeny independent thing that they sell. These little colored mangas they have. But
yeah.
and if it's
We
big
need to
enough in
bring
that
back
way.
telephone books just to beat some of these disrespectful kids with.
It's true. Cops, what do
I
they
like
do
this.
these days to leave no bruises? I don't know. But but and then of course, if it's popular enough, it gets made into an anime. And then here's the interesting thing: in the anime side, the animators, when you go to these studios with these gigantic crews just putting out these anime, it's mostly girls. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting? That
pumping it out.
the individual creator is usually men, but the anime mass army is usually female.
I genuinely, and I'm not normally one to side uh, to meddle in these sorts of things. People should meddle in these sorts of things. But I think the culture around manga is the work culture is ridiculous.
It is.
It's obscene that these guys have to work this hard. There's no good reason they couldn't put them on a 2 week or monthly schedule for pretty much, especially ones that are super successful like My Hero. The audience will be there when the stuff's ready, right? And they just will because it's people want to see how the story goes.
Right.
So there's no reason for him to have to keep killing himself, literally,
Well,
just so that executives and shonen can make more money. I mean, let's be honest. He's already made his money off of this. He's probably set. So there's no reason,
eh,
like there's not a reason for him in that regard to kill himself. He's doing it because, it's part of the job. It's just what they're
right. No,
expected to do.
no one in Japan makes as much money as you think they should. He's not making anywhere near as much money as you think he does. They really, it's just that's Japan. If you go to doctors are not rich in Japan. They're not,
No,
right?
they're not rich in America
Uh, uh,
anymore either.
well, I'm just, you know what I mean.
Different
It's
reasons.
Japan is very tight, almost let's say cap on salaries. Now, the big corporations that are behind everything, oh, they're filthy. They are filthy. But the people who work for them, like if you're a pop star in Japan, you can only be successful like 99% of the time. You have to work for a company, right? You can't garage it out and become a mega hit here. It just doesn't work like that. So if you work for those corporations, you're like, all right, these guys are biggest hit in Japan. They must be making millions. No, they're not. No, they're not. Now, Johnny's or one of the other big companies that employs them is making money hand over fist, but those worker kids aren't, right? It's just the way Japan is. So I doubt this guy's making anywhere near as much money as you think he is.
Hey,
Um,
he's a multimillionaire. He has to.
he might
He
be.
owns half of the rights to this manga, and this manga is an international multi-million-dollar seller.
Well,
It's impossible. They would literally have to be screwing him illegally to keep him from
right.
that kind of money.
Well, the fact that it has gone international is certainly putting more money in his pocket, but I
Yeah,
guarantee you this guy is
just
nowhere
off
near
the
as rich
rights
as an
and
American
stuff
would
like
be,
that, right? His
right?
shares from that is probably where his. I guarantee you're right. They're not paying him. It's the fact that he gets his royalties and stuff
Right,
because he owns this thing
right.
is where they get their money.
But, Japan actually some years back had to put a law into place. That literally the government had put a law out restricting hours worked because they were having a problem here in Japan of people literally working themselves to death in any job.
Yeah,
That the government literally had to put a law in to keep them from doing that to save lives. That's stupid, right? But that was the reality, and it still is happening in certain niche markets like this.
Well,
And
and the other crazy part about it is I mean, we have all the data. You have to rest. You
yeah,
have to.
you do,
You will work. First of all, you're not going to get anything quality done if you're exhausted. You're just not. So you have to rest eventually. And if you want to get actually better at something, you have to rest for sure. No matter what it is, if it's physical, mental, whatever, you have to take a break from it, and you have to let your brain reset and digest what it's learned, and you have to let your body heal so that you can come at it perfect example. Say you're playing a video game and you hit this boss and you just can't beat him. You spend an hour and you're trying, you can't, you get all mad and you give up, and you come back the next day and you take him out in one or two tries.
yeah,
Now, why'd that happen? It's because your brain figured it out while you weren't paying attention to it.
right,
That's why it happened.
exactly, yeah. Now, well, and you have another problem that compounds on top of that over here. You see, the I don't really have complaints. This is a great culture. They do it pretty well. They have some problems, but that's not my problem, right?
Right.
So nothing for me to complain about. Socially, they have some problems, but the only if I were going to make a complaint, it's they're so damn slow. They're
They
just slow ass people, dude. But see
don't
that
move.
they're just everything they do is slow. To demonstrate that, if I'm in America and I'm walking in a building, a mall or something like that, and I come up to an automatic door, it opens and I walk through it. Here, I
Right.
have to stagger my step because it opens slowly because it's set for their pace. Seriously, they're slow, but see that now that sounds like it shouldn't be part of this conversation, but it actually what it's doing is compounding the problem. An
Yep.
American, because they have no choice, you either get your job done or you lose your job, right? But an American will get done in 7 hours, but it'll take a Japanese 13 to 16 hours to do,
Yep.
right? And the difference is the same amount of work is being done, but the hours in, 7 hours getting it done. You go home, you relax, your day's done. They don't have time to go home and relax. They go home, put some food in their mouth, and go to sleep, get up and do it again. It's
Right.
because they're so damn slow, but yet they have to get a Western perception of workload done. And
Right.
so I know it's counterintuitive, but it's really, I think, a major part of the problem. So they will put in these long hours at work because they need to get it done, but and they're just spending that time, right, where we wouldn't be. We'd already be home hours ago, right?
Right.
And that's really, like I said, it's not a complaint. It's not a big deal, but they're so damn slow, dude. Everything they do is they're just slow.
It
It
takes them longer.
and I've gotten used to it to a point, but it still irks me every now and then. Like if you go and you go to a checkout, right?
Mhm.
It's like freaking molasses, dude, right?
They got
And
no urgency, is what you're telling me. No urgency. They're not moving at a deliberate pace.
no, they're not quick. Every now and then you'll get a boy because usually the girls handle the counter, right? And that's fine. But every now and then you'll get a boy that's bagging or something, and it'll be a bit quicker.
Yeah.
It's just a culture thing, right? And I never didn't get that because when I first came over to Japan, oh, these guys are incredibly hard workers, serious. I got to be serious, right? And
Mhm.
they are, but Americans are way harder workers than a Japanese are. Way harder. It's not even
That
close.
Protestant work ethic, man. And it's because people, for some reason, modern people, people from the last 70 years or so, forget that this country didn't exist 120, 150 years or so ago, really 110 years ago. Most of this country wasn't settled until, around
The air
like the
conditioner.
turn of last century and stuff. And then right. Like it took, and especially once the automobile came, that really helped
Oh
too.
yeah.
But a lot of stuff, it was just wild
Yep.
wilderness, and you didn't have time. It wasn't about whether or not you had the skill. You did it or you died.
Hmm.
So it was that simple. It had to get
Yeah.
done, and it had to get done now.
That is something that people seem to forget about America, and I think it kind of keys into our character a little bit subconsciously because, like when
Yeah.
the Spanish and the Portuguese and others went down into Mesoamerica and South America and ended up taking over that everything that was there, but they already had all the infrastructure in place. Cities were
Right.
there, roads were there, water systems were in place,
Yes.
library. I mean, they had a full on civilization, and
Yes.
all it needed to be would be to be Europeanized. That's
Hmm.
a word. So they had it. It was already there. They didn't have to do the work, right?
Right.
Where when we came in, there clearly was a civilization before. Obviously, we found foundations, and a lot of cities are built on foundations. There was somebody there before, but they just were something happened. They got wiped the hell out, right? There
Right.
was nothing, right? And all they were was literal savages. And I know people don't like that word. They go on about racism. No, they were savages because they
Yep.
were living in a post-apocalyptic world.
Yep.
And the thing, and we need to, and no one bothers to dig in to find out what the hell happened because we know that, 12, 13,000 years ago during the Younger Dryas flooding and stuff, that North America was devastated. We know that. But people did come back in, right? And survivors
Yep.
did rebuild. So, we're not, that's not the cataclysm. Something happened not long before we came over that absolutely obliterated the culture that was living in North America. I don't know what it
Yep.
was. We no one seems to care, but obviously that was there, and those people were literally road warrioring it, right?
Yeah.
And
Literally, they were nomadic. They didn't really
there
set
was
down
no
roots. Like it
roads,
was,
there was nothing,
yeah,
there was
100%.
nothing, and these people were viciously savage, and not we just happened to be in the way of it. It was
Hmm.
amongst themselves, right?
Oh yeah,
And
brutalizing each other,
it
brutalizing each
was
other.
ridiculous, and there were a few little pockets here and there, sure, but in general, so we came into a hostile environment with nothing, and we had
Right.
to literally build everything you see in that country, and we did that over a very short period of time.
Oh yeah.
It's a freaking miracle, and no one
Yep.
gives America credit for that whatsoever because they don't understand it. When's the last time the Germans ever built anything, or the Japanese had to go into a
Right.
frontier and create something? No, no, they haven't. Thousands of years. right? Thousands of
Yes.
years. We came into a literal savage wilderness and had to cut it out. And look what we
Carve it
built,
out,
right?
conquer it, claim a continent, as the old saying goes.
Well, I'm just saying
Yeah,
it's unique in modern
but
time. You have to
that's
go
my
back
whole point,
thousands
right?
of years,
Like,
right?
people don't appreciate that, and that's a shame, and it's one of the reasons why I honestly believe one of the reasons you have such a mental health crisis in America is the fact that people don't know their own history. They don't know who they are. They don't know where they come from. They don't have roots like we used to. Like, I remember my grandparents and my mother and father and stuff, they knew their history. They knew who their great grandparents were and how they got here and this and that. People nowadays don't know that stuff by and large. You can ask them, they don't know, no idea. They have no idea. They've been denied their history.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're having an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. The Japanese don't have that problem. They know who they are because
They
they
know
know their
exactly who they
history.
are. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but anyway, this is a little bit off topic, but it's a lot off topic. But I mean, it is an interesting thing about America that, and I think it kind of leans into our psyche, whether we know it or not. But nevertheless, yeah, don't take 2 weeks, take 2 months.
Yeah. Chill out, bro.
Kohei,
You did it.
dude,
You did it. You
yeah,
got
you're
it.
good.
You can. They're
Relax.
not. First of all, what they gonna do to you? What they gonna do to you? Fire you? Okay. Like, then the book's done because you have the rights to that. They can't just make it without you, without your
Yeah,
permission.
even
So just
even if
chill.
they could, they wouldn't because culturally it
Yeah.
would piss the Japanese off.
Oh, it'd
Yeah.
be outrage, right?
Because they don't
So
understand how some new person does Spider-Man. They don't get it. Well, who
yeah,
created Spider-Man? Oh, what was his name? Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. Well, how come
yeah,
anyone else is making it then? They don't get it, right?
right.
So
Right.
the,
Well, I actually, to be honest, I kind of agree with that sentiment, at least in function. Because I wish we could have the American comics actually grow instead of just be the same characters forever.
yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah, it would be nice. And we're going to talk about that here in a second of what's going on, particularly with DC. Anyways, just once again, this is the level of creation that he's putting out 20 pages a week. A week. And keep in
Craziness,
mind
man.
this needs to be put and formed and folded and all that stuff. So it's probably only 5 days.
Yep,
It's probably 5 days. 5 days. He needs to put out 4 pages, 4 finished pages a day. 4 finished pages a day.
that's
Completely
crazy.
finished, right? And he's doing everything. Keep in mind, he's doing the art, he's doing the inking, he's doing the lettering, he's doing the story format, the layout, everything.
Branding, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
impressive.
craziness.
It is crazy.
Actually, craziness.
I have some love for everyone. Oh,
Uh-oh.
pure love.
Netflix unleashes, I like that, unleashes new teaser for Gamera Rebirth with first glimpse of updated gouts.
I
Updated.
updated. Yeah, updated. I love Gamera. I'm much more of a Gamera fan than a Godzilla fan, although I watched both when I was a kid. I loved Gamera. Now it was a kid thing, I get it. But I'm excited about it, even though Netflix is attached to it. Some of their anime
Yeah.
has not been so bad. But I don't care about any of this. This is where I'm right here. We're watching it.
Here it comes.
6 episodes. I don't have to translate. Nice. Oh, oh, they didn't give us
Versus
much. They didn't
five
give us much.
kaiju. Interesting.
Dai kaiju. Yeah, well, that's everyone says kaiju. You shouldn't. You should say dai kaiju. It means giant monster, right?
Versus five. Well, maybe they're not all giants. Maybe he's fighting little ones.
Maybe, possibly, but let's watch that again. So look, it's in that Godzilla animation style, right?
Oh.
5 kaiju. I didn't see any Gauss. Did you see Gauss?
Unless there's a different one, maybe. Maybe this is an older one or
I
something. I don't
don't.
know.
I don't see any. I see him only. Huh. Yeah.
Same old.
Let me see if there's another trailer. No, there isn't. It's just that one. Although, oh, I see. It's this picture of here. Oh,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay, okay. All right, yeah, yeah. Well, it's definitely in
Mhm.
that style of that Godzilla. They had a few seasons of the humanity coming back to Earth
Yeah.
and having to deal with it with Godzilla's. So yeah, no, it's in the same animated format, but I'm there for it, man.
Could be good.
It could be. I
Could be
like
good.
Gamera.
More monster movies, the better. I like watching big monsters fight big monsters. It soothes me.
Yeah, just
Just
keep the
does.
people to a minimum, please.
We don't need the people. You know what? Don't even. I want just no people. Just none. We don't even need them. Let's just watch the monsters fight.
Yeah,
Give me a voiceover to explain what's going on, and that's it.
yeah.
Let me figure it out. Almost, you could almost do a form of silent film with these movies,
You
where
could.
all you have is sound effects between the monsters and the fights, and other than that, there's no dialogue. And I
Sure.
think it would probably be fine for most
Simple
people, for
popcorn
most fans.
pleasure. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
But yeah, those Heisei movies, Dave, in the 90s were great. You're right. I grew up on the little, more kiddie stuff from the 70s and 80s. But of course, I was a kid, so But I remember there was one of the movies where Gamera got sick and he turned white because he was ill, and they had him on a flatbed and they were trying to help him, and of course the monsters were attacking, and he courageously came back, and I was like, oh no, Gamera. Yeah, I was 7, so shut up.
They had you. That's what you're
They
saying.
did. Yeah, I love Gamera, dude. I don't know why Gamera was more interesting to me than Godzilla, because I saw all the Godzilla stuff too. My mother, there was a mall near where I lived at the time, because I'm a military kid, so I moved around a lot. And there was a mall, and we were there for a while. And this mall had the movie theater there was quite clever. On Saturday mornings, you basically, for a fairly cheap fee, you could just drop your kids off, and they would show them a whole bunch of movies. Like we'd see 2 or 3 movies, and the mom could have a break and go shopping and do whatever she wanted, right? And I got dropped at that every damn Saturday, so I saw every Godzilla movie ever made. Mhm. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Because that was fun though, because it's a theater literally full of children
Right.
enjoying Godzilla and Gamera and mainly that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I just wanted to see the trailer. So it's not much. We need more. I am worried of being Netflix though, but we'll see.
That
We'll
should
see.
worry everybody at all times.
Yeah. Boy.
Here, here's the official DC movie slate under James Gunn. We have to talk about it, Chester. You
We
know we
do.
do.
I know.
What's it going to take for you to admit I'm right?
Well,
Just
let's just take a look here and see what we're getting. All right, now and talk about what's happening here. Now we all have, I'm sure, very similar concerns about James Gunn. Now Thundero just hates the dude, and I understand why he does, because he is very suspect. Let's be fair.
yeah,
But I have concerns because I really think James Gunn is good at what he does, but I also think he's a one-trick pony. And
yeah,
therefore, how do you put him in charge of a universe without it becoming simply Guardians of the
same thing,
Galaxy 2.0,
right?
right?
Over and over again.
And that's my concern. Grimlock, do you have any? What's your concern regarding Gunn being in charge of this?
My biggest concerns, I would probably say, is the writers' room that has been confirmed so far.
Yeah, Tom King. Do we have to go any
No,
further?
no,
Do
no.
we have to go any
Well,
further?
it's well, no, 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 no. Actually, he's a concern, but he's actually not the biggest concern.
Oh, there's
Really?
worse.
Because that's my
Yes.
fucking concern.
Well, that's why I said the writers' room. Yeah, they said they anybody inspired by Tom King, I would have on Suicide Watch, because Tom King should be on Suicide Watch.
Yeah, well,
Right.
obviously he's moody. Uh,
Um,
yeah,
but the concern is, from what I've seen and what I've heard, the some of the people that have been put on this was the writer for the HBO Watchmen series
yep.
Yep.
Which shit,
and CW writers,
right?
Yep.
Exactly. And
which are
Tom
far
All
King.
more
those shows with the shit. All of
which
them.
I would say is far more concerning than Tom King, because Tom King, while we do have issues with his writing, the little sad sack can actually fucking write.
From time to time, yeah, he shined. That's true. But the reason why I keep harping on Tom King is because this is the Tom King
Oh
verse.
yeah, because of
It is the
Supergirl.
Tom
Because of
King verse.
Supergirl.
Well, all
That's
of it.
terrible.
This is all Tom King's take,
Yep.
right?
Well,
It's gonna be basically what we already got, but more colorful. Because it's not going
It
to be
will be more colorful,
aspirational.
more funny.
It's not going to be elevational. It's not going to make you have hope or any of the things we were looking for and hoping for from DC. You know, the ones that are supposed to be the paragons of these positive feelings. DC, no. It's going to just be more dour, more. You know, maybe it'll get a little happy, but then it'll come in or cut that right out from under again. Like it's not going to be what we want at all.
No,
Because we know the stories he's basing most of this stuff on, that he claims he is anyway, aren't what we want.
no.
So why would we assume that the movies are going to be good if the source material is dog crap?
Yeah, it would be better if you went back to the older stuff, but it's not what's happening. And we're starting
No.
with Superman Legacy. Now, a lot of people even in this article, it says Superman Legacy will follow Kal-El as he reconciles his extraterrestrial origins with his human family and upbringing. Yeah, maybe, but I also think we'll get a lot of things that are not Kal-El. Because look at the title, Superman Legacy.
That's
That doesn't
interesting title,
infer
isn't it?
Kal-El. That infers
Uh-huh.
the legacy of Kal-El.
That infers his gay son. That's
Yes.
what that is implying there,
Mhm.
because that's where he's
Mhm.
going.
And
I
Lois
mean it.
getting it
I
on
mean
with
this.
Papa Jor-El. Yeah, baby.
I mean this. You're going to see the gay Superman in these movies
You
if these
will.
movies don't utterly bomb within 1 to 3 films of this film.
Which is why they
Guarantee it.
got rid of Henry Cavill.
Yep.
That's why.
well,
Because you can't gay
here,
up Henry Cavill. It ain't gonna work.
No.
but here's the interesting thing about that. I know everybody is saying that. I don't think I could be wrong. I don't think Zaslav is going to allow that because Zaslav is above all else. He is a money man, and there's
We'll
still
see.
$51 billion, and there's still $51 billion in debt. That's not going anywhere.
That's
Well, the
true,
Axe
but the
with with
Axlov.
with with the slate that they currently have, they've already accepted that whatever's coming out these last couple of DC movies as it is, that's going to be what it is. But once this reset starts, they can't afford a single failure. They
no,
can't.
I don't think they're. You're right, but I don't know if they understand that completely, because
Yep.
the fact that the legacy thing is what concerns me. The word, the fact that Henry is not kept on, but yet Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and frickin'
Ezra looks
Ezra
like.
Miller are
Yeah.
staying on.
Yes.
This is weird because the only person that
I
actually Eminem wanted was Henry Cavill.
Yes.
I what I want to know is what does the little goat fucker have on these
He's
executives?
got something. He's got something.
He's
Something.
got to have something
Somebody's
big.
got some bodies somewhere, and he knows about
Mhm,
them. That's for
mhm,
sure.
mhm.
They're
Because
probably on
holy
his
crap.
ranch. I mean, seriously, I know we've talked about it time and again, but like the shit that he has done in the last few years, we shouldn't even be talking about a movie. We should be talking about when he, how long he's going to jail.
Yeah, no,
But
we should
here
be.
we are,
Yeah, and of course they all get
and
off, just like what's his face that shot that girl on the Rust set. He got charged with manslaughter, but you know we ain't going to see any time.
yeah,
No, I don't
it's
think he will either. This whole thing, as soon as I saw the name, and then he had the temerity to use the cover from All Star Superman as if it had anything to do with it. Ooh, I really hate
Right.
James Gunn.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I understand. We have to wait and see.
this
To be fair,
is
we're speculating.
going to be horrid. It's going to make our boy Snyder's stuff look like The Godfather. It's going to make his stuff look like it was amazing.
Which is good
I'm
for him, I guess.
telling you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
promise you that's what's going to happen, because here's why. Even if he wasn't planning, and maybe he's not, but even if he isn't planning on bringing in the gay one, he has to find Superman. You know how hard that is to do? The
Well,
reason why Henry's perfect for the role is because outside of the role, he lives like the man.
yeah, he's
He
a
has the same
normal,
character
good
as
guy. Yeah,
Superman. He's
exactly. And
virtuous, he's honest, he's forthright, just like Superman. So you got to find that also then looks like Superman and has the build of Superman. Oh, and he needs to be able to act.
right.
He's got a Herculean task in front of him right now. Oh, and he's got to be young because apparently Henry was too old. So he's got to be in his, late 20s, early 30s, I'm guessing is where he's heading. Um, good luck. Good luck,
Yeah, good luck.
James.
Yeah, but also, I've heard a couple little comments here from him that are talking about the humanity of Superman, and it's like, well,
Yeah,
already it's showing me you don't understand Superman
missed the
because
point.
Superman is the perfection of humanity. That's
That's right.
the
He's the
point. That's the
man
point.
of
He's more
tomorrow.
human than the rest of us. That's
Yes,
the
he's better
point.
than
You're
us.
missing something there. But
Yes.
I don't want to get hung up in one thing too long. So let's move on to the Authority. Now, I personally love the Authority. It's a great comic
Yep.
book series, but it's certainly Elseworld. I love the fact that he said there will be Elseworld stuff, and as there should
But
be. But the
but not Henry.
Authority is not going to be that. It sounds like it's going to be mainstream. And why are they doing that? Well, they're doing that because, like I said, I like the Authority. But they're doing that because basically you have knockoff Batman in the Midnighter, and you have knockoff Superman and Titan, and they're homosexual lovers. You know
Yeah,
that's the reason they're doing it.
that's
You
the only
know they
reason.
are,
Yeah.
right? Even though the book is awesome, I suggest you go read it. It's definitely more adult. It is fantastic. You know that's the reason it was chosen, right?
Yeah.
Simply so they could have their gay Superman and their gay Batman. That's the thinking behind it. Now, is this James Gunn's thinking? Not necessarily, but he has to work within the system, and we know how broken they are over there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's my assumption. I could be wrong, but I really think this is why they're going with it. And all I can hope is that they do it justice, because if you ever read The Authority, it is great.
It's pretty good, yeah. I read
Yeah.
it a long time ago. Um, yeah, I think you're at 100% correct. The only reason is because they have the gay characters, and these are ones that people actually like. Surprise. Guess what? When you do it right, when you don't make their entire personality is that they like to suck dick, when that's not all they are as a person, people don't really care in comic book
Well,
land.
yeah, it's
We just like, all right,
offhanded,
cool.
right? And the
Yeah,
Midnighter is cool.
he's
Titan
awesome.
isn't so cool. He's not so cool, but the
Yeah,
Midnighter is.
because every time you try to knock off Superman, it doesn't really work. There's a reason why Superman is still around almost 100 years later,
Yeah,
right? There's
that's
a
true.
reason for that.
Well,
So,
but also with the Midnighter, people say he's like a Batman thing, and I get that. In a way, he is. I think he's more of a Punisher. He's
yeah,
more like
yeah, it's
the
close
DC's
to
Punisher.
Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And happens to be gay. But that's the thing. He just happens to be gay. It's not his whole personality, which is what these hack writers nowadays don't understand. They want all of them to be celebrated for being gay as if it's an accomplishment. Uh, that's not what Midnighter's about. That's not what it's like. So I'm very leery of this because he's like the only one they haven't fucked up yet. And
Oh,
here they come.
here they come.
Here it comes.
Yeah. And no, a lot of people don't have faith. Dumb's the name in Gunn's plan, but we're kind of looking through, seeing what we speculate here. So the Authority, we know why they're using it, but it doesn't mean it won't be knocked out of the park. However, back to the my general conceit here. Um, you know, how is Gunn's version of this going to work? Because he's all about the schlock and the comedy and stuff, and there's not a single stitch of humor in the Authority. Not
No,
a stitch.
it's
That
brutal,
is
actually.
brutally serious. And it's
Yeah,
great, but it's how is Gunn going to do that?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Just like the one that's coming up next here, The
Because
Brave and
he's
the
talking
Bold.
about writing all this shit. He's doing all the writing,
Yep.
right?
He's
I
gonna
don't,
either do all the writing or he's gonna be like oversee the writing at the very least, right?
or
So
yeah, no, he's directly involved. He's very clear
yeah,
when that little speech he gave.
which is
Um,
good. Which, by the way, if you're gonna do this, that's what we want. If we're gonna
mm,
have DC try and make this into an actual thing, that's what we all wanted. The problem is they picked the wrong guy. I genuinely believe they picked the wrong guy,
yeah.
wholeheartedly. And that's a shame because I want DC to get their shit together. I would love for an awesome Brave and the Bold movie or series or whatever it's going to be. I'd love that because Brave and the Bold's cool. But
All right, so
I don't think
let's do it.
they
Fantasy booking. Let's do fantasy booking right now. Who would have been the guy?
the
To do
guy
the
to take the,
Authority,
the reins and
Yes.
run the DC Universe studio to be the creative
oh,
force.
Yeah.
I would have done exactly the same thing as far as I would have had it be two different guys. It wouldn't just be one. That's actually smart because then you get a business guy to handle the business stuff and a creative guy to handle the creative stuff. I don't know enough about Saffron to say whether he was the right pick for that or not, but it would have been somebody of his caliber handling the business side of it. Because I
Yep.
know he is a fairly successful guy from what I understand. So that's not terrible. Now, as far as the creative force, that's a harder ask. And at first, it has to be somebody who wants the job. I'm not
Yeah.
going to go out there and give it to somebody who doesn't want it. So you have to find somebody who wants the job, who is a mega DC fan, who's a professional. And James, in fairness to James, he is a professional. I will give him that.
Yeah.
Um, who's a professional and who has the talent to pull this off. That's harder to get. And honestly, I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head. If I thought about it for a while, I could probably put somebody together. But it's hard. What they're asking for one guy to do is a near Herculean task.
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
said, it has to be somebody who loves the source material and doesn't just love it, because a lot of people love it. Like everybody loves Superman, everybody loves Batman to some degree, but truly respects it and understands on a fundamental level why certain characters like Batman, Superman, whoever, why they resonate for a century. Right? Why has that happened across multiple different, because culture has repeatedly changed in that last 100 years. So why do these characters persist? There's a reason for it, and it's actually pretty much the same reason for all of them for the whole time. It's certain what they represent, basically. But like Chester said earlier, how we know Gunn isn't that guy is because he doesn't even understand Superman. He
No, he
clearly doesn't
doesn't.
understand
Yeah,
Superman.
yeah. I mean, what he does well. But I don't. This is a weird thing. Well, once again, I'm going to give him a chance. I'm going to see what he puts out. But it is worrying. And I have an answer for you, Grimlock. I would have taken a
Go ahead.
large dump truck full of money and backed it up to John Favreau's house and sniped him from Disney. That's what I would have done.
He could do it.
That
I,
would
I
be the
got I
dude.
got two I got two names for you, and I think Thundaro is gonna like both of these names because of what what he wants.
Mhm.
The two guys I would have given that money to is Paul Dini and Alan Burnett,
That worked.
the architects of the '90s animated universe,
Yeah.
who
Yep. But can
has
they
probably the
handle
best.
the corporate level of movie making?
Right.
Well,
That's the
that's
thing.
why I would bring it. Well, see, that's why I'm bringing them in together with Saffron. I'm gonna you got to keep Saffron or somebody of his ilk there
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're gonna
No,
need them.
that's not a bad
But
choice as far as creativity, but
it,
I think Favreau
it
can already do all those things.
He can.
Yeah.
Favreau would be a good choice
yeah,
too. All of those would be better choices than James Gunn, though.
Yeah.
In all honesty, and it's not even about my disdain for Gunn. It's about what maybe he'll surprise everybody, and this will be awesome. That's what I want. By the way, I want that. I want to be
I'll
wrong here, but I just don't see it. I've seen most of his work from back even before he was anybody. I've seen a lot of his work, and he's not. It's not that he's incompetent. It's that when I say he's a hack, I mean he's one note. He's got one
Yeah,
note.
he
He
is.
plays that note
He's a one-trick
masterfully.
pony. Yeah. Yeah, he is.
But we need
well,
somebody who can tell grand story. This is DC, guys. This isn't Marvel.
Yeah.
These aren't supposed to be human stories. These are supposed to be stories about gods and people with godlike
well,
abilities and discipline and things. I don't know if
well,
he's that guy.
well,
I just don't believe it.
well. It's not just that. It's that I think you need more than one guy. I think Gunn
Yeah,
by himself. I think this is a lot. This is a huge ask
Right, and
because
he's doing it all himself. He
Kevin,
said so. Yeah.
because going back to Marvel, Kevin Feige gets a lot of credit, but Kevin Feige had a lot of help
Sure, he was a
Favreau.
manager
because
though.
Kevin,
We're talking about a
yeah,
manager
he
like with
was,
John Favreau.
yeah,
But James
he
Gunn's
was,
creative.
Yep.
yeah, but the buck for a long time the buck didn't stop with Kevin Feige. That's
Yeah,
the big deal.
Perlmutter had his
fair.
fucking reigns, and that's when it was successful. Yeah.
Well, you also
Yeah,
have,
and
because of the way they let the directors have a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
You had that too. So if a movie flopped, you could blame the director, right?
But
You
keep
could
in
blame this guy
mind,
or that guy.
back to
but
Zaslav, he brought Perlmutter in. Perlmutter is there at an executive
Yep.
position, so we got that dude back in charge of shit again.
I don't know because Perlmutter behind the scenes is leading the uprising at Disney. So
Well, but he's
that's
working with Zaslav too. He is. Well,
uh,
we saw
he
that
might have his
release.
hands in he might have his hands in both
Yeah, but
cups, but
he's a conservative guy, and that's kind of what we need. We need
yeah,
conservative voice. But the Brave and the Bold here, once again, if it were Favreau, what he brings certain people with him, like Rodriguez. Rodriguez would kill this.
Yep.
It would be awesome. A lot of people seem to be complaining about Damian Wayne. I'm indifferent in that
I'm one
regards.
of those people. Damian Wayne is retarded. Terrible character. Terrible idea. It's bad. It's just bad all the way around. First of all, his name's Damien. That's a horribly cringy name. Second of all, for a comic book character, and second of all, just the very concept of it is morbid and grotesque in a lot of ways. And I just don't. Again, I don't like it. I don't need. Batman's already a dad. He's already got enough kids of his own that aren't his kids biologically. Why
Right.
did he need one that was actually his kid to make? Oh, you have a deeper connection. Shut up. They do not. And again, he's going to talk about he wants to start at the beginning, and then he skips over all the other Robins. Explain.
yeah. This one was like one of the things that bothered me the most about this because one, as I said before, when I think Brave the Bold, I think more of that golden/silver age
Right.
Yep.
aesthetic and vibe of Batman, where it's more
A little
lighthearted and
lighter.
it's not
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
and it would have been
modern.
smart too. You could bring Dick Grayson, but have him being in a high schooler age, right? Older,
Right.
Yeah,
and he's been with
and
Batman for a while, and then you can spin him off into a Nightwing movie.
Yes. For
yeah,
fuck's sake.
and
Still no Nightwing movie. How?
Yeah,
How is that
and
possible?
and also another reason why I
eh,
don't want Damien because there's only one Damien, and his name is Sam Neill.
It's right.
well. See, but also the thing is, Damien Damien seems to be a difficult character to nail down because from what I've seen with Damien, there's one or two ways it goes with him. He's either an unlikable little shit,
Yep.
or he's a little edgy. He's like a little edgier mix of Jason Todd and Tim Drake.
Yep.
He
Well,
has that little combo going,
he's the only
and
one that's
depending
not
on who
gay
writes
yet.
him,
Well, he's
give
got
him
that
time.
going for him.
Give him time.
Yeah,
Give him time.
It's I am
I
just
mean,
I
I'm, I'm
as a Dick Grayson fan am sick of the disrespect to the main Dick of DC.
that's right.
I'm sick of it.
He is
There's
indeed
no
Dick. That's
reason
true.
this guy shouldn't be getting his shine somewhere,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's
not
just
though.
not.
Yeah,
well,
Supergirl,
as I
Woman
as
of
I've said,
Tomorrow.
I,
Ugh,
I,
Tom King.
Go ahead, Grim.
Again, you want to
that
talk
one
about
is
completely
well. I was
misunderstanding a character? I'm pointing at it. You can't hear me, but I'm pointing at it.
Yeah, Grimlock, go
Right
ahead, dude.
there.
I was gonna say I will stand by my previous assessment of when I said I think that Dick Grayson, how he turns out as an adult, is Batman's greatest achievement because
Correct.
he because in so many ways Dick could have became just like Bruce, and Bruce did not let that happen. And even though Dick had his quarrels with Bruce and probably at times didn't understand Bruce's way of being, he did not allow Dick to go that path.
Yeah, no, it
He
is.
still let
Yeah.
him have
But
the
we're not
humanity he
we're not
lost.
getting Dick.
But we're not going to get that,
We're not getting Dick.
unfortunately.
So,
We're getting Dick,
um,
just not the good Dick.
now,
Pause.
okay, this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is pure Tom King. It's not canon. It's not
Yeah.
where Kara comes from. It's not how she came to Earth. It has nothing to do with her. It's a complete Elseworld story, but I guess it's going to be the official. And no. Okay. Swamp Thing. Cool. Creature Commandos. Cool.
Cool.
I have no problem with either one of those. The Supergirl thing, there's nothing to talk about. It's completely non-canon nonsense.
And
I
it's
don't.
not Superman. It's just not. Like,
It's
that's
not,
not who she is.
and they got to make her angsty and angry and
Yep.
mean, just like all girls are these days for some reason in cinema. But no, it's just fuck that Tom King crap. But these two right here could be cool. Waller, who asked for that? She's
I
the
don't
bad
know.
guy. Who asked
James
for
Gunn's
that?
wife.
I guess. Well, it's him promoting his Peacemaker verse. This is what all of it is.
Yep.
It's all being twisted into the Peacemaker verse, is what it is. And I'm not interested in Waller whatsoever. Booster
No.
Gold, I'll come back to him. I just want to kind of go through him. I am getting tight on time. Booster Gold, yeah, it could be cool. And they were talking Chris Pratt doing that. Well, whatever. Chris Pratt for everything. Lanterns.
Yeah, it should be the guy from Top Gun Maverick who played Hangman. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he should be Booster Gold. He's perfect.
This is going to be pure gunnism, though. It's going to be just
Yep.
wacky, goofy, and with a little bit of
Which will
perversion.
probably work for
It
Booster
probably
more than
will.
anything. But
It
yeah.
probably will.
Yeah.
And no one knows who Booster Gold is, so it is a clean slate for him.
Yes.
Lanterns, it's a buddy cop on Earth. It's weird. Okay. And then
Yep.
last, Paradise Lost, which is just, scissoring the movie. So,
Well, that and it's just yet again another Game of Thrones knockoff.
right.
We needed more of those. Holy crap!
Well, the thing is, they could
My
do
my thing
this.
is, but
Go
who
ahead.
the hell's gonna watch that when House of the Dragon's gonna be going on the same fucking network?
Yep.
Right.
That,
But also keep in mind, it's an opportunity for them to have an all female cast. There will be zero males. And of course, there shouldn't be. It is Themyscira. There should be
Yep.
zero males, none at all.
yeah, I mean
And
that
that's
part don't bother me. But like you said, it's Game of Thrones. But why would you want to watch a knockoff Game of Thrones when you can just watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
well,
I
but
actually like
That's
it,
the
the
idea
part.
how
of
how is it
the buddy.
so though? Because in the storyline of Paradise Island,
Yep.
that we've had over the years, Hippolyta is 100% in charge.
Yes.
That's it.
She is
The
the
only trouble
boss.
they have is from outside,
Right.
with Ares and things like that. Inside, they have no problems. So, but what they're suggesting here is that there is political intrigue going on at Themyscira itself that doesn't make sense based on the canon because Hippolyta is Queen Hippolyta, put in position by Zeus himself.
Yep. Doesn't
They're
get any
gonna
more
make it that
definitive
way.
than that. It could, in fairness, it could actually end up being pretty cool, but I think it's going to have a very short shelf life because it's just there's only so far you can take that premise, right, before it just falls apart.
As long
The
as the lesbians, which they all will be, because they all are, as long
yeah,
as they're hotties in bikini tops, I'm okay.
so you're telling me you don't want
You're
fat
not gonna get
Amazons?
that.
Huh?
You're gonna get fatazons. You're gonna get a lot of fatazons. I hope you're
Maybe,
ready.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
Flabazons.
Um, the lantern, only two of these that actually intrigued me is the Booster Gold because I think James Gunn actually is perfect for
Yeah,
Booster
he'd
Gold. I
kill it.
think
Yeah,
he'll
yeah,
nail that.
yeah.
In Lanterns, if Lanterns is written well, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted a buddy cop Lantern show. That makes sense. So
Yeah, but
if
it's
those two
only
are
on
done
Earth
well,
though. It's exclusively on Earth, which is a
for the
bit
first
weird.
season, I bet it'll expand after
Yeah,
that if
but
it's
I agree.
successful.
Booster Gold is perfect wheelhouse for James Gunn. This is
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah.
yeah, he'll nail that.
Um, I don't know what this
And
Waller crap is. I'd love to see Creature Commandos though. I do like Creature
let's say
Commandos.
I'm wrong, and he
Yeah,
nails
Creature Commandos.
Superman. He comes out and he kills it, and it's the best Superman we've seen ever, maybe ever. And eventually we get to the proper death of Superman storyline. If he goes that route, we'll actually have Booster Gold around because he plays a very pivotal role in the original story. Uh, be nice to see. It'd
Maybe
just be
that's the
nice to
direction
see
he's
that.
going. Yeah.
It'd be nice to see that storyline play out properly, right? The whole thing of the death of Superman. It's one of the most, if not the most successful comics of all time. Can we please get it made into a movie? For Christ's sake, it's right there, DC. You've had it for 30 years now. You've had it, and you just won't make it. Why? Anybody got an answer? Because I don't got one. It's one of those ones that it should be very, very easy to translate because it's a simple story. You don't need a lot of nonsense for it. It's very simple. And for whatever reason, we just don't get it. They just refuse to make it into a movie. It boggles the mind. Truly boggles the
Yeah.
mind why DC has never done that.
Yeah, and just so you know here, Dave says, no, sorry, dumps the name. Gum is the white Taika Waititi. Just keep in mind, that's not even his name. His name is David Cohen.
That's right.
That's his
That's
name.
correct.
He took his mama's name because he thought it, and he took his middle name because he thought it sounded more Maori, and he could play on the nonsense that's going on. And he was right.
Yep.
He was 100%
It
right.
worked.
But
It
his
worked.
name growing up, everyone around him called him Dave. He's
Yep.
Dave. His name is Dave Cohen.
Dave.
That's who he
Hey,
is.
Davey. Yep.
But I'm just saying, this is just his whole persona is bullshit.
It is.
Um,
It's
but
pretty amazing.
whatever. He's just a pervert being let loose in pervert land. They should stop calling it La La Land. It's not La La Land. It's pervert land. And Taiki is a perfect little bed bug, just freaking dug in.
Yeah.
But anyway, because I'm getting real tight on my time here. But the thing is with some of these announcements, I'm like, okay, that could be cool, and some of it is questionable, and some of it is just dumb. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I just figured we should talk about it because, like I said, there are some things here that I would be happy to see, and I think we all agree, James Gunn doing Booster Gold is perfect. It is
Yeah,
perfect
that's perfect.
because Booster is a goof.
Glenn
He's
Powell.
he's a
That's his name. The Hangman from Top Gun Maverick. That's who should play Booster. He's got it. He's got the charm. He's charming enough to be a prick and get away with it. And that's what you need for Booster, because
yeah.
Booster's a little bit of a prick. Just a
The
bit.
Booster is from the future, just so you guys know. He's from the future. He literally stole the power ring, and he
Yes.
escaped through time. He's a criminal. He's a bit absent-minded or oblivious, maybe is a better word. He's a comedic character, and along the way, he learns to become an actual hero. But
Yeah.
that's his storyline, and that shtick is perfect for James Gunn, right?
Yeah. I think he'll nail that one. If that's bad, if somehow that's the one that's the worst, I'd be shocked. I'd
Yeah, it would
actually be
be.
stunned.
I would be. But I don't know which one of these is the worst and which one is the best, Grimlock.
Ooh.
The worst, just because of the association with Tom King, it's Supergirl because
Yes.
when
Yes.
people talk about
No.
a hack.
No.
Tom
Yeah.
King tells the same story over and over again. It starts off halfway decent, and by the end of it, you want to slit your wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write another story, bro. Get therapy. You've been needing therapy for at least 6 years.
Yeah.
Go get therapy, dude. You can afford it. Um, it's the worst. The ones that I'm most interested in, I've always had a soft spot for Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
It was one of the
Me too.
it was one of those first comic uh, related things I remember seeing as a kid. So I always got a soft spot for him. If they do the Alan Moore run,
Which
they
is
have
what it
instant
sounds like they're
money.
doing, by the way.
Yeah.
Creature Commandos is also up my alley because Marvel won't give me a fucking supernatural fucking team, so why not? So,
Yeah.
and of course Booster Gold for all the reasons you guys have already said,
Yeah.
and Brave and the Bold. I don't like the idea of skipping straight to Damien. It's dumb. It's like when you do Spider-Man and you skip straight to Venom. No, don't do it. Don't freaking do it. It doesn't work. It never
Mhm.
works. Give the There's enough fans that knows Damien is not the first. So there's way too many good stories you're just leaving behind. Plus the fact, how the fuck are you skipping the Damien with no Ra's al Ghul, no Talia?
Yeah, really, right? Exactly. I mean, unbelievable. But okay. Thundero, worst, best, best, worst.
Um, I'm gonna say the worst is tied. That Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow nonsense is absolute garbage from beginning to end by Tom King. It totally misunderstands what this character is and what she's supposed to be. She is everything Superman is, but even more cheerful and happy is what she's supposed to be. Like she's supposed to be even brighter than him in many ways, and this turns her into something she's just complete opposite of that. And it's no, thank you. I have no interest in even. I have no interest in even seeing it, let alone
Yeah.
like seeing trailers. None of it. It's terrible. I don't want nothing to do with it. And then
Yeah.
the other one is Superman Legacy, as far as the worst, simply because I don't believe he can find a Superman as good, just as good as Henry, and I also don't believe it's going to lead to anything other than gay Superman because that's what's coming.
Yeah.
Now, as
No,
far as the
I know.
best, Booster probably in Swap Thing. I mean, Booster Gold will almost certainly be Swamp Thing, and then Lanterns is like right there. If that's done right, that'll be awesome.
Yep, fair enough. For me, it's simple. Swamp Thing. I'd love a Alan Moore run of Swamp Thing as it should be. It would be great. And Supergirl. This is the worst. I mean, it's just Tom King nonsense. It's going to be
Yep.
dour. It's going to be completely unhappy, which is not who she is.
No.
Because Supergirl, Kara is very much in an odd way anachronistic character, right?
Hmm.
She's from a different society. She's completely out of place. Even though their society was more technically advanced, she's kind of old fashioned, right? And he's
Right.
not because Kal-El grew up with great parents, but he grew up on
Right.
Earth. Whereas she still has that fantasy utopian, dream that
Yep.
Krypton was. And this is an important facet of her character. And during the years, she did grow. But having her stuck on a literal chunk of Krypton, which they're doing, and having her angry and angsty and just mad, which is Tom King, right? That is
Yep.
not Kara at all. And the sad thing is, for the majority of the viewers, this is going to be their first and only introduction to Supergirl. And it's
Yep.
not going to be correct. It's going to be the opposite of what she should be. Because she has no understanding of those things, which is one of the problems she ran into when she came to Earth. And thank goodness that her cousin was already grown up and could kind of come over and guide her a little bit, because she
Right.
would have gotten all kind of trouble. But anyway, that's the worst, and I'm looking forward to. I love it, Alan Moore Swamp Thing. But anyway, let me. I'm really tight on time. I won't be able to do that, so let me just do this real quick as the last thing. Go ahead.
Tencent denies claim from Alana Pierce that they demand, quote, no black people and want bigger breasts on female characters in films and games.
Hmm.
Um, well, Tencent can deny that all they want. I know for an unmitigated fact that the Chinese people demand those things.
Right.
100%. They don't want anything to do with black. They don't even like black people in their screens, and they like boobies, like
They do.
normal folk
Like
do. They
normal
like the
folk.
boobies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
To take a quote from What We Do in the Shadows, Alana, shut the fuck up. Um, nobody. Um, yes, that's exactly what they want. We've seen the comment. We've seen the message boards. They don't like black people, and if you don't believe it, go look up those Black Panther message boards.
yeah, they don't like black
Um,
people.
and they like titties because titties are like bacon. If you don't like either one of them, I don't want to be around you.
You're
Yeah, no.
weird.
I mean, I don't have to read this article. I've heard that. I just saw that and laughed because, of course, it's true. What are you on
Yes,
about? I don't
100%.
need Alana to tell me anything. I
Yeah.
live in Asia. The only people that have any kind of real tolerance of blacks are the Japanese, and
Yep.
there it depends on the decade, really, right? But Chinese and Tencent, and another thing, keep in mind, Tencent's one of the big banger companies in China. It is 100% controlled by the CCP, something that people
Yep.
don't seem to understand. Tencent is directly controlled. Every business in China is owned by the CCP by law. But a lot of
Right.
them they don't involve themselves with until they start making profit. Then they send a watcher over to take a look at them, right? But Tencent is very much a platform for them to make money off of the stupid Westerner. And because keep in mind, a lot of the Tencent games aren't necessarily huge in China. They have their own games which they don't let us play, right? They
Hmm.
don't they don't they don't export them. Tencent is their representation to the world, and they just keep buying everything. So
Right.
yeah, no, they don't care for black people. They don't want them in their games, or their Tencent starting to veer off into other things now. But the big booby things, dude. Everyone loves boobs. What are you talking about?
Everyone.
Everyone loves
Gay,
boobs.
straight, doesn't matter. We
Look
all
at
love
the
them.
look at the Japanese. There's giant booby things in all their anime, but yet walk around Japan, find some big boobs. Go ahead. I
Yes.
challenge you. Right? Everyone, everyone wants that. So the big boob thing is just dumb. I mean, everyone wants that. The black people thing, unfortunately, it is real. Now, would a Tencent executive say that out loud? I seriously doubt it because
Right.
these guys cannot screw up. See, the thing is, when you go to your job and you screw something up, maybe you'll lose your job. If you're an American, probably you will. But
Hmm.
that's about the extent of it. Here, you will disappear into some camp somewhere for a decade.
Yeah.
You don't
Or the
screw
grave.
up in China, right? These
Yeah.
guys don't make those mistakes. They don't.
Well, they
Uh,
don't make them twice.
No, they
That's for
certainly
sure.
don't. Yeah. But I'm just saying, so, I doubt she heard that from anybody. She's just
Yeah.
stating a fact that is just, we know is true.
That anybody who knows anything about China just knows is
Yeah,
true.
it
That's
just
just
is
how they
what
are.
it is. Yeah,
Oh,
it is what it is. But anyway, it was a funny thing I saw. It was like, obviously, dude, what do you want about? And this is that Alana Pierce girl. Once again, just virtue signaling for clout, whatever. Fuck off. Yes, thank you. Mhm, mhm, mhm,
I
mhm,
like boob. It is weird how many Twitter people, that's what I'm calling them from now on, Twitter people, have decided that their war is against boobs. We
Nice.
can't have boobs on women in video games anymore because something misogyny.
Yes.
I don't know how that works. In fact, I'm married to a woman with very large breasts. They exist. I seen them.
It's
Yep.
it's the itty bitty titty committee, the most hateful group of women on the planet.
That's
And
true.
and the thing,
Congratulations.
this is a perfect example here because we have Mila Jovovich, very sexy, an actual sex symbol. There's not many female sex symbols, are there? Right? There's
Yes.
many more male sex symbols than there are female ones. But she's absolutely a sex symbol, and she is as flat as a board.
Yep.
Right? So it is not exclusive. And I heard another voice. Who was that?
Tower.
Tower.
Hey, Justin.
Tower, talk about titties, and you show up. Perfect.
I'm your
as
favorite
as
female.
young men should.
Yes. I
I heard.
heard boobs and I decided to jump on Discord while I'm at work. My calling.
Wow,
You
you
work.
are
You happen to
inside a
work in the
cave.
ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Yeah,
audio
no,
is really. Yeah,
I,
your audio is
yeah,
really bad, Tower. It's really, really bad. Drop out
yeah.
and come back in. Drop out and come back in.
No, I won't fix it. I'm at work and I'm on earbuds.
We can't understand a word you're saying. Drop out and come back in.
Ah. Oh, I love it.
Anyway, so yeah, I also was gonna hoping to get it in. Now, the reason I wanted to look at this one other than Frank's is because this is from Slade Hale, and this is kind of I didn't look at it yet, but this is kind of a better way to do it from Slade, and there's a couple of these from Slade. And I kind of wondered if Bounding is switched over to Slade instead of Frank, because what Slade is doing, 10 drama films from the 90s that everyone should see. See, he's not making a top 10 list. He's simply
Right.
suggesting, and that's way better, right?
That's smart.
And
Yep.
there's another list from Slade as well. So I wonder if Frank has been demoted. Oh,
Could be.
let's just kind of
He
go
had the
through it
wrong.
here.
He had the wrong opinions.
Maybe American History X, good movie.
That's a great movie.
187, don't know that one.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. Apollo 13, yeah, pretty solid movie.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Shawshank Redemption,
One of the best movies ever made.
legend.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glengarry Glen Ross,
Yeah.
yes, very famous.
Overrated.
Yeah, it's fun little drama though, but
Yeah.
it is famous. A Few Good Men, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
One of Tom's best performances right
it
there.
is. Ghost,
Good.
I
Yeah.
barely 90s, but okay. But that's
Pretty
a
good.
chick flick, but okay.
Sci-fi,
Um,
I'd say.
I wouldn't call it a drama. It's a chick flick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Titanic, oh, you can go right to hell with that shit, man. Forrest Gump,
Forrest.
Forrest isn't
Man, this was
bad.
Tom's decade. Tom Hanks's decade.
Tom
Holy crap,
dominated the
man.
90s, yeah. Schindler's List, oof, Jesus,
Yeah, this one.
rough. But yeah, those are all
There it
good
is.
movies. But it's a better way to present the top 10 list, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
you
don't have
know,
any problem with any of the ones that he chose either. They're
because he
all
didn't put them
you
in
should probably
order.
consider.
Yeah,
Well, you should probably definitely check all those out if you haven't. They're all very good.
yeah,
If I had to pick two, it'd be Shawshank and A Few Good Men of the list there.
yeah, they're great.
Uh,
I don't know
yeah, you
this
should.
I
one.
don't know if if Titanic should count as a drama because my dad loved watching movies where all the white people just die.
Yeah, I bet he did. Yeah,
He
the old
laughed.
black men are, boy, they're racist.
So that
And I
ain't
It's true,
that's
appreciate it.
dude.
nothing but a
I
comedy.
respect it.
You're not gonna find more racist than an old black dude. You're not gonna.
That's true. It's accurate. I've done business with them. It's true.
Yeah, they don't like whites, and but I don't know. Is Titanic even a drama? Isn't it more like an adventure film?
Well, apparently he's
Disaster.
considering romance movies dramas, which I guess technically they are, but I would say it's more of a romance disaster movie.
Yeah,
Is where I would
whatever.
classify
I
it.
mean, I never was a fan of it. I didn't get the appeal, but it was popular though. And if you haven't seen it, you probably should watch it, I guess. But I didn't get the appeal. It was, okay, whatever, you know. But I'm not a big Leonardo DiCaprio fan, and this lady
No?
is not so interesting. Then neither one of them are interesting to me. So
Well, this is before he really became himself, right? He was still a very young man when he made that.
yeah, but
Uh,
I can't name a DiCaprio movie that's good though.
really?
Yeah,
Wow,
That's been a
that's
couple.
shocking.
name one.
That's shocking.
Catch Me If You Can, I thought was pretty good.
Catch Me If You Can is pretty good.
Is
It's
that the
Tom Hanks and
magic
Bikini
Blood
one?
Bottom.
Diamond is
No, that's the
that's
one.
the
That's
one
where
where
he's check guy. It's about the guy who forged all those checks
I
in
didn't
like the
see
50s.
that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Blood Diamond was good. You get to see him die in that.
Nah, that's boring.
the is it called The Aviator? The one where he plays Howard Hughes is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Everything is
Um,
which is the
kind
one
of
which
meh.
is the one where he gets which is the one where he got raped by a bear. What was the name of that one again?
um, oh, it's the one. That's one of the ones with the craziest true story that it's
Yeah,
based
he
on because
plays
it's
Glass in
literally.
that one. Yeah, I can't.
What is the name of that movie?
Revenant.
Yes, Revenant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly one of his
That is
better
based
ones.
on a story that's even the movie doesn't do it justice. That story is insane,
It
and it's
is.
true.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
The Departed is. Yeah, I just
The
find
Departed.
him boring. I just do, guys. Cap Canada brought up The Departed, and that's a all-star, salary
Yeah,
movie.
that's got a
That is a
salary,
good movie.
man.
Shutter Island. I'm just not a
Yeah.
DiCaprio fan. I don't have no hate against him or nothing. I think
I'm
it's
not, I'm not,
fun.
I'm not
Just
either, but
boring.
he does have a couple good ones in there.
Yeah. He's just not
Oh,
my
Wolf of Wall Street. I
flavor.
like Wolf of Wall Street too. I think it's fun.
I've never seen that
Uh,
movie.
oh, you should. I think you'd like it. I think that's one you would like because he's not DiCaprio in it at all. He's not. It's pretty fun. And then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I liked a lot too.
Mm. I don't
Tarantino.
know. Wolf of Wall Street seems pretty depraved to me. I'm not really into depraved. If it's a stupid, grotesque horror movie that's also depraved, I guess I can watch it. But I'm just not into depraved.
Um, I don't know if I'd call it depraved. I mean, maybe, I guess. It depends on your standard, I guess. But I'd just say it's just a character piece about Jordan Belfort and the craziness he got up to in the 90s or the 80s.
Yeah.
Because he did. He got up to craziness, just madness, the man.
Well, anyway, interesting list. But I definitely need to go. I'm already past the time I should be. So I gotta go. I have to go into work early today. But anyway, that's okay. Next week I shouldn't have any problems, so it should be normal. But nevertheless, thank you all for coming in. That was fun. And keep in mind, 2 days I am continuing the Umbral, and then of course we have Drone and Quartered this week on the Thursday, which is Valentine's Day themed. Aw,
Aw.
which means Amron's going to be drawing a girl that's wearing a string and calling it a bikini. That's what's going to happen, basically. Because that's his expression of
Hey,
Valentine's Day, I'm sure.
the man knows what he likes.
He knows what he likes. And we got some absolutely killer artists, of course. I'm really happy that Johan Alexander has joined us. Johan's working with some Western comic book people as an artist. He's a stunning artist, but he's Indonesian. I do love the fact
Nice.
that on that show we have people from all over the world. It's really cool, dude. Right?
Ye-
Um, yeah, I really like it. And Indonesians have been really coming up in every way. But also particularly in the artistic world. I mean, Marvel's using tons of them because they're cheap, right?
Right.
We
But
can tell.
yeah, well, no, because we've seen
I
some really
mean,
amazing, like Pablo out of Argentina, right? Pablo's an amazing artist. Um,
yes,
so stuff like
they would do much better if they actually hired Pablo.
yeah, they would. They would. But I really like it. We've had some artists from all over the world, and I enjoy that. I think it's neat. And the cool thing with talking with Johan, because you being from Brazil, well, you're still part of the Western world, right? You're not detached. But Indonesia is pretty far away, and
Yeah.
culturally and geographically. However, talking to Johan, he grew up because he's my age. He grew up, watching Little House on the Prairie and all the same shows. It's amazing how far Americana has traveled. It's amazing. And I
Yeah.
would
Yeah,
love to see Little House on the Prairie in Indonesian. That would be really cool, because they roll their R's like mad. Their
they do.
R's are like these eternal roll. It's really, really, really cool. Anyway, I gotta go. So, Grimlock, say something.
Have a good night. We're already into February. Things are getting off to a fast start.
Yes, sir. It's been a busy month.
Yeah, and Tower's mic is working. Sweet. Hey, Tower, would you like
Oh,
to
it's
say
not that
something?
it wasn't, Chester. It's I'm at work and I had y'all on earbuds because I'm in a truck.
Oh, well, that makes
Ah,
sense.
that
It
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to say something, Tower, now that we're leaving?
Uh, it's a beautiful day.
Hey, there you go. Positivity.
That's
Thundero, take us out of here, man.
I have a very simple one, and it's a question. And the question is, what is wisdom? And it's simple. Wisdom is not to misplace your worry. When you are poor or weak, worry after your strength and wealth. When you are rich or strong, worry after the weak and poor. Place your worry correctly, as misplaced worry could be lethal.
Mm. Namaste. Later, everybody.
Yee, Chester. Yee.
Goddamn Zimmer.
Yee.